welcome back to EDH Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and I'm going to talk about this 30th anniversary set that is coming out. Again, it's one of those things that maybe people don't even know it exists, especially considering all the product we've had coming out lately. So I've seen a couple of channels doing videos about it, and I had a couple patrons reach out to me and be like, hey, you're gonna talk about this new 30th anniversary set? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, from what I've heard, there isn't much to talk about, to be quite honest. At least not a lot of positive stuff to talk about. But nevertheless, it is somewhat significant on the Commander format, kind of, not really, sort of. You know, I do like to talk about stuff, anything that is going to impact the Commander format. This does somewhat impact it, which I will get to. Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I normally do. I'm actually just going to go here on Scryfall and look at the set. This is the whole spoiled set, the cards that they're coming out with. I haven't looked at it yet. I've heard rumors, right? I've heard they're reprinting the Power 9 and all that. So a couple of important things to note here, okay? These are, first of all, proxies, okay? These aren't real Magic cards. So right out of the gate, I'm thinking, Magic is printing proxies? That seems odd to me. I mean, the other really important thing to note here is these are really, really expensive, okay? $1,000 for 4 packs is the number I've heard, which is absurd. I'm not sure who this is for. Obviously, because these are proxies, they're not technically legal in the Commander format. Obviously, you know, I've made videos about this in the past. I'm okay if someone plays proxies. I would be okay if someone played these cards. It's up to your play group to discuss. They do have different backs on them. Obviously, they have you have this 30th edition symbol on the front. So there's no way you're going to sneak this into a game without anyone knowing as soon as they see the 30th edition there. And again, maybe that's a good reason why to make videos like this so that people know. So if you see this Armageddon in a Commander game and the 30th edition is on the front, you will know that it's not actually technically a legal card. You know, again, I wouldn't care. Some people might. You know, looking through this, again, Armageddon, that's a good card. That's, you know, I don't know if it's something that I would play in a casual Commander game, but it is a good card if you're actually cracking it open in a pack. Balance, however, again, really good card, but it's not legal in Commander. Where are you going to play these cards? That to me, that's the getting away from the price, okay? My thinking is, where are you going to play these cards, right? A lot of these are just awful, like Banalish Hero, unless you want to make a banding deck. You know, like you got the wards, which are bad. I remember when I actually used to use Circle of Protections, I thought they were great. Of course, nobody uses them anymore. There's a lot of really, I mean, this brings me back again for maybe I'm one of the people that this is sort of a target for. A lot of these cards I cracked open in packs back in the day. Holy Armor, Healing Salve, you know, the wards, Disenchant, of course, Karma. Karma's a pretty good one. I actually have Karma in my Dragonlord Jamoka deck to help close out the game by turning everyone's lands into swamps. And, you know, I guess I could use it there. Mesa Pegasus, you know, like there's some pretty bad ones for sure. Some really bad ones. Again, though, the couple of the few good cards, and you know, I don't know what's actually rares here. They do have the one rare per pack like you normally do. What's the rare though? Like Swords to Plowshares, like Savannah Lions? Is that a rare? Because Savannah Lions, you know, talking about, if we look at power creep, Savannah Lions used to be considered a busted card. 1 mana, 2/1. It's a vanilla creature, but a 2/1 creature for 1 mana was considered absurdly busted. It was one of the reasons why White Weenie decks took off back in the day. And now, if you crack a Savannah Lions in your $1,000 pack, or I guess it'd be $250 pack of cards, are you going to be pretty happy about that? Probably not. I think that would probably be in the rare slot. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure. Like Wrath of God, there's a decent one to crack open in the rare slot. Hey, Ancestral Recall, you know, and this is exactly what I'm thinking here. Okay, I'm cracking open one of these packs that cost a fortune. I get an Ancestral Recall, which is one of those cards that you want. Okay, but what am I going to do with it? I'm wondering who is going after these cards. What am I going to do with an Ancestral Recall? I'm not going to play it. It's not legal in Commander. right? It's, in fact, the only place it's legal that I'm aware of is Vintage, in which it's restricted, I believe, which means you can only play one copy. So if you're playing Vintage, I'm quite certain, Commander players are pretty easygoing when it comes to proxies, but I'm quite certain Vintage players, that's not going to be the case. If you're playing a game of Vintage, pretty sure those guys are going to be pretty strict about stuff like this. Who is going to allow you to play this in a Vintage game? Right? A proxied card, I very much doubt anyone's going to. So I'm thinking, like, what are these cards for? Is this just to say, hey, I have an Ancestral Recall in my Magic collection, but it's a proxy, so I could just very easily make my own proxy and then say the same thing? Like, what's the difference here? Ancestral Recall, as far as I know, is only legal in Vintage and it's restricted, and you're not going to be able to play proxies in Vintage. I very much doubt you are going to, right? Some of these cards are neat, like especially some of them, seeing them in the Modern Borders, kind of neat. Of course, they have the errata text, so the text has been updated. I kind of like that. I would imagine I would probably find a few cards in here that I might actually be playing in some of my Commander decks where, I might actually swap it out simply because it has the updated text and maybe the Modern Border. Like some people, I kind of like having the Modern Border in all my cards. There's Time Walk and Time Twister. So Time Twister, obviously Time Walk, not legal in Commander, right? So where are you going to play this? Again, that's another card that is people would think of it as a fetch card, a card that you want to go after, that you want to crack open in one of these packs. But what are you going to do with it? Where are you going to play that card? Again, I'm pretty sure this is restricted in Vintage, and that's the only place you can play it. So what are you doing with this card? I don't understand who's going after these cards. Time Twister would be the one where obviously this is an incredibly expensive card that is actually legal in Commander. I think this, of the Power 9, I think this is the only one that's actually legal in Commander. So this could be, I'm trying to think of what else, but this could be the only card that is actually a card where you're like, okay, I can crack it open in a pack. I can actually use it in a Commander game. And it's technically you can't use it in a Commander game. You would have to okay it with your playgroup because it is a proxy. Obviously, I would be okay with it. But this would be one of the few exceptions where it's actually legal in Commander. It's a really powerful card. It's a really expensive card. It's a card that, people might want to get their hands on. And you, again, probably could make I would imagine your playgroup wouldn't have an issue with it, probably, hopefully. We get into the situation, though, when you get to really powerful cards like this, that's when people are like not so okay with proxies, right? So it sort of defeats the purpose. Animate Dead, there's a good one. There's some pretty decent ones here that I wouldn't mind cracking open a pack. Again, if we have two stipulations here, two big ones. One, there's zero chance I'm going to spend that much money on Magic cards. I wouldn't spend that much money on a legal Magic card. I have talked about Gaia's Cradle in the past about how I probably could run out and buy that if I really wanted to. I'm not doing it. I'm not spending that much money on a Magic card. That's just me. And I'm certainly not going to spend that much money on random Magic cards. Animate Dead's a good card to crack open in a pack. Again, the other stipulation being if I can actually play it in a Commander game. So if these cards were $10 a pack, I probably still wouldn't buy them because it's like, honestly, if these cards were $10 a pack, how many people would actually run out and buy these? I wouldn't, because again, for one, you might not be able to actually use them. And for two, you might end up with a water elemental, right? Which is that a rare? I don't know. I can't remember, this. Again, when I was cracking these open in packs, for those who don't know, and maybe they're doing this for nostalgic reason, you didn't have the colored mana symbols, so you didn't know what the rare was and what the uncommons and all that was. So I actually didn't know when I was cracking open 4th edition. This probably would have been 4th edition for me, a lot of these cards. I didn't know what the rares were. So I don't think Water Elemental is, but whatever the other horrible rares are in the rare slot, some of them are good. Steel Artifact, that's okay, I guess. But Stasis is pretty good. Animate Dead, there are some decent cards. Death Grip's not a bad card. Of course, Dark Ritual is a great card. A lot of people want to use that. I think a lot of people already have Dark Rituals, though. Demonic Tutor, there's a good one. Again, probably a lot of people already have Demonic Tutors. And why would you spend $250 on a pack of cards to maybe open a Demonic Tutor in a pack when you can just go spend like $40 and get one? I think that's about what they cost. Maybe not even that much anymore. It's been reprinted a lot, right? So if I want a demonic tutor, I'll just go out and buy one, and it's actually a legal commander card, and it's actually the real thing. Why would I spend that much money to maybe crack one open in a pack? Doesn't, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know who's going to be doing this. Hypnotic Spectre, Lich, Mind Twist. We got some pretty decent cards here. But again, why am I risking the money to maybe get a card that I could probably just go out and straight up buy rather than draft maybe? Are people going to buy these for draft? I guess that would be interesting. Again, though, even if these packs only cost $10 a piece, you probably wouldn't have. You'd have probably a lot more people doing the draft thing if that was the case. But just for, just be fun to draft like a, what is this, alpha or beta or whatever, right? Soul Ring. Hey, there's a card you can use, but who cares? Everybody's already got a bunch, right? I got like 5 Soul Rings sitting in my, magic box right now that aren't even getting used. So, I just don't get it. I don't get who's actually going to run out and buy these cards. There are some good ones. Fork is a great card. I think it's pretty expensive too still. So maybe there's one. Legal and Commander. You could actually play it in the format. So there's another one. I'm trying to find the upside here. So Fork and Time Twister so far are the cards that I think are kind of expensive. Mana Flare is a good one. Again, pretty expensive, I think. Used in a lot of decks and Commander. Hey, Raging River. So, see, now here, this is a reason to actually get one of these cards. And I'm wondering, after you buy these cards, obviously I don't crack packs. I haven't cracked packs in forever. What I do is I go on like TCG Player or whatever, and I just buy the singles, the cards that I actually need. I don't like the randomness. It used to be fun back in the day, but now I don't. I kind of like just getting the cards I actually want. This is a card. How much is this going to cost, right? After everybody cracks open a bunch of packs, if I go on TCG Player, are they going to have these cards? I don't know. If they do, eventually it's going to happen. Eventually someone's going to buy. I think you have to buy these directly from Wizards of the Coast. So you buy them from Wizards of the Coast. You crack open a bunch of packs, and then you don't want them anymore. You don't want a Raging River, so you sell it to TCG Player or however that works, and then they sell it, right? So how much is TCG Player going to sell me a Raging River for? Because I would actually buy this card. And again, this is a card that you actually, this is going to be the first printing with a modern border, obviously, and it has the updated errata. And if you actually go and watch my insanely wordy cards video, this is one of them, and it is incredibly confusing to have that old wording there. And here's now a case where I can use Raging River in a deck, and I actually think this is a pretty good card in a Commander game, and I can use I have the updated errated text here, which is great. That I like. So that is actually going to make me want to go out and buy this card. How much is it going to cost? How much is this going to cost if I go buy it off of TCG Player, or whatever, Card Kingdom maybe, in maybe a couple months or whatever? I'm curious to know. It's not a real Magic card, right? It's a proxy. I guess it would be akin to like a gold bordered card, right? So gold bordered cards can tend to be expensive. If you look at a gold bordered Gaia's Cradle, it's actually kind of expensive because people do run out and buy them to put in their Commander decks, right? Red Elemental Blast, there's a good one. Smoke, really good card. Again, that's another card that I'm pretty sure has never had a modern printing. Pretty sure it hasn't had the errated text, so that's another good one. That's another one I wouldn't mind opening in a pack if the pack costs $10. I'm not spending $250 on it. So there are some pretty decent cards here. And again, I like a Wheel of Fortune. Again, there's another one that I'm wondering if it's been printed with a modern border. I don't know if it has. That part I actually kind of like. That's a great grab to get out of one of these packs. Again, can you just go buy a Wheel of Fortune for less than $250? I'm pretty sure you can, right? So why am I going to go out and buy this pack? I'm just going to wait. I'm thinking I just wait until a bunch of people buy these packs, if anyone does, and then I go buy, I want a modern bordered Wheel of Fortune or a modern bordered Smoke or Raging River with the updated errated text, and I just go buy it off a TCG Player. There's no way it's going to cost $250. It's probably going to cost $5 or something, right? Berserk, another decent one. Channel, which is banned in everything. I don't know why they keep reprinting this card. It's very weird. They did what was the set it was like a master set they reprinted this card, and I'm like, it's banned in everything. Why are you that? I don't get it. I don't get why am I going out? Fastbond, that's another one that I think is banned in everything. Definitely banned in Commander. Is it legal in Vintage? Maybe. I mean, okay, I'm gonna crack that in a pack and never be able to use it. So I guess people just like having cards in their collection. But for me, I'm all about I actually want to use these cards. So just cracking open a card in a pack that I can never actually use, I don't find it to be, worth my money, particularly. And there's just a lot of like Wall of Wood, there's lots of walls in here. Thicket Basilisk, Stream of Life. There's a lot of really bad cards in here. And Commissioner's a good one. Basalt Monolith. There's the Black Lotus, right? And that's the one where everyone, is this going to make people run out and buy this set? I don't know. Like, why wouldn't you just print your own? There's already lots of people out there using proxied Black Lotuses for whatever reason. Again, the only place you can use it is in Vintage, and it's restricted in Vintage, I'm pretty sure. So you're only allowed one copy. That's the only place you can use it. So what are you using it for? That's what I don't get. I don't get why do you want a Black Lotus? For what reason? I guess the only reason I can think of is you're playing Garth One Eye, right? You're playing a Garth One Eye deck and you want the actual Black Lotus card for when you create the copy of it, right? Chaos Orb banned in everything. It's kind of neat to see the Chaos Orb in the Modern Border with the new, obviously the artifacts are different colors now. And the it's actually got the one tap if cap. Yeah, it's got the errata text on there, which I don't think I've actually ever seen before. But of course, it's banned in everything, so I don't know why. Kind of weird. Yeah, who's buying these cards? Hey, Force Field, there's a good one. Force Field, yes, that's one that again I would probably actually go. I'm not going to buy the packs because what are the chances I'm going to have to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars to maybe open a Force Field in a pack? Why would I do that? I would just wait until it ends up on TCG Player at some point and then go buy it, because this is a card that is legal in the Commander format. I mentioned it in one of my very first 10 cards videos, and someone's like, yeah, it's a good card, but it costs like $800. And it's one of those cards that it's just really old. That's the only reason why it's super expensive. So now they have a reprinting of it in the Modern Border, errated text, that I can actually go and buy off of some other site at a later date. Obviously, I'm not actually going to buy these cards. Illusionary Mask, there's another one. That's another one that I did on my insanely wordy cards video, that now we have a modern bordered version. It's actually a good card in a Commander game, and we got the errated text there. Look at how tiny that text is. That is an insanely wordy card. It actually has more text on it than the original card does because of the weird rulings. Very weird card. This is actually a good card. I'm not going to tell you to go and spend $250 on a pack of cards, or I don't even know if you can buy a single pack. Apparently it's $1,000 for 4, so I don't know how that works, but is that worth it? No, just if you want to use it, proxy it yourself, right? Mana Vault, Cormus Bell, Meekstone, of course the Moxes, again, banned in just about everything, so where are you going to play them? You crack open a pack and you got a Mox Sapphire, you're like, yeah, I got a Mox Sapphire that I can't use anywhere, ever. So what's the point? I don't really get it. Disc is a good one. Again, there's some Soul Ring again. What happened there? There's some good ones for sure. Winter Orb, there's a good one. Time Vault, another card that's banned in everything. I think it's even banned. Is it banned in Vintage too? I don't know. Of course, you have the dual lands, which again, that's a pretty good grab if you want to spend that much money to maybe get it. Again, we keep coming around to the same problem, which is I'm going to spend how much money to maybe get how much is a Taiga? How much is it actually? What's the cheapest version? I mean, they are revised. A revised Taiga is, it looks like I can get it for like $375 or something. Like you're almost, it wouldn't you be better off to just run out and buy the real thing? It's a little bit more expensive, but you're guaranteed to get it. How many packs are you going to have to buy to maybe crack open a Taiga that isn't even the real thing, and you might not even be able to use, people might complain that you're using these proxy cards in your Commander decks, right? I don't get it. I don't understand who this is for. Who is this for? This is certainly not for people who are on a budget, that's for sure. If you have tons of money, why don't you just go out and buy the real thing? right? Rather than cracking open random packs and maybe getting the card you want, why not just go buy a demonic tutor? Why not just go, and then on top of that, you have all the the only cards in this set that are more expensive than the actual packs are the cards that you're only going to be able to play in vintage, and no vintage tournament is going to allow it. And I don't think even a run-of-the-mill vintage game player is going to allow it either. Are they going to be okay with you playing your Proxy Black Lotus in a vintage game? I don't know. I've never played vintage. I think those guys are pretty hardcore when it comes to stuff like that, so I don't get it. I don't know who this is for. Comment below. Let me know if I very much doubt it, but let me know in the comments below if you're actually going to run out and buy these cards. Again, I'm thinking for me, there are some cards here in this set that I wouldn't mind getting my hands on. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on that Illusionary Mask or the Raging River, just because of the modern reprint and the updated errata text and all that good stuff. But I'm thinking, okay, I just wait a while, and when it appears on one of these other card sites, I'll just buy it from them. And how much could they possibly be charging for it? Like $5 or something? I can't imagine it's going to be expensive. It's not a legal card, right? So I'm really curious if there's anyone. Comment below if there's a reason why you want to run out and spend that much money on these cards that aren't actually legal. Let me know. I'd love to know what the reason is. I mean, people can do as they like. You want to spend that much money on cards and just, I guess there could be some fun. Draft might be fun here. Sort of a nostalgic thing. It might be fun just to see what I get. You could just say, hey, I cracked a Black Lotus in a pack once, and just tell that story to people until they figure out that it's actually from 30th anniversary edition. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. This is a very weird thing to do for 30th anniversary, I think. There could have been a lot of better things they could have done here for this. I don't know who's going to be interested in this kind of thing, but let me know what you guys think. That is it for today, and thanks for tuning in.